Okay, so it is Wednesday, August 17th at the time of this recording. My name's Jay Smack. You're listening to the Good Eye Podcast. We explore issues of health, wellness, mindfulness, fitness, curiosity, things of that nature. And falling under that heading of health, wellness is cycling. And this episode is very last minute and about cycling in some respects and about other deeper things in other respects. The topic is cyclist safety. I'm not going to go into depth about this issue, but that also leads me to a point I wanted to make out of the gate. And I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to Trey Dunaville of the Wheel Community podcast. Trey just dropped a new episode called Episode 36, A Few Words for Jonah and Natalie. And he simply gets some things off his chest. He acknowledges that he has a platform, and it was very appropriate, very sweet, very nice. And that brings me to my next point and the real reason for the podcast, which is the event that happened almost a week ago now, last Saturday, on Osbourne Turnpike outside of Richmond in Verina, where two cyclists were struck by what they are saying is an impaired driver. And one, Natalie Rainer, is in the hospital currently recovering from her injuries, and recovering is a bit, I guess, liberal at this point, as it just happened and her injuries are extensive and severe. And the other, Jonah Holland, did not survive. Jonah Holland was the other cyclist struck and killed by a drunk driver, using the clearest language possible. That's exactly what happened. It's quite literally a crime. It's obviously a tragedy. Cyclists are not provided. We don't have the resources to make sure cyclists are safe in this country because we have not allocated the resources. We don't take it seriously. But the reason I want to thank Trey so much is because he had some thoughts. He has a platform. He put them out immediately. And my background is in media and broadcasting, voiceover, recording, sound design. So sometimes I tend to overthink these things, and I wanted to put out an episode and get a panel of people to talk about cyclist safety, get some people on to talk about Jonah and Natalie, and that would absolutely be appropriate, but also sometimes you just have to act when the timing is there, and not overthink these things and not overproduce them. So thank you to Trey and the Wheel Community podcast for jumping all over it. Trey does a great job. You can go over to twc.podbean.com and check out the Wheel Community podcast. So obviously the cycling and greater Richmond area community and Jonah and Natalie's friends and family are reeling from this. Especially Jonah, having lost someone so vital, so engaged, so passionate about life. I came in contact with her on a Final Gravity morning ride, which is every Sunday. And she reached out to me. She knew my brother. And she said, are you his brother? And I said, as far as we know. And just like she does or did with everyone else she came in contact with, she stayed engaged and she followed up, and she scheduled a ride with my brother and I one Wednesday morning, not that long ago. Jonah was everywhere on the bike. She was a RABA member, Richmond Area Bicycling Association. She was a member of the Wolfpack Alpha Club, with whom she rode regularly. It's just insane. And having known her, a bit, I can't even imagine what her close friends and family are going through. So, did want to mention a couple words, and also there are links that you can go to help Natalie and her recovery and her family, and of course Jonah's family, and I will put those on the website, which you can find directly at goodipodcast.com, or you can just Google it, and the host website will come up. Either way, I'll have resources and links there, and feel free to reach out at goodipodcast@gmail.com if you have additional information or resources. Happy to post those as well. But the thoughts I wanted to address are simply that cycling it's a passion of many. I can only speak for myself and say that when the weather is accommodating, which in Richmond is pretty much 12 months a year, but really 9 months a year, realistically. I ride between 100 and 200 miles a week, usually. That involves a few shorter rides during the week, maybe a couple group rides. On the weekend, you get in something longer, and I have ridden that Capitol Trail / Osbourne Turnpike route many, 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 many times, as have many cyclists in this area. It is hugely popular. It's beautiful country. It's usually open. Traffic's not that bad, although there is traffic. But the traffic is usually kind of speedy, and there's very little shoulder to speak of. Now, in this case, because they are saying it's an impaired driver who has been arrested, by the way, and in the interest of compassion, of course, justice needs to be done, but can you imagine what that driver is going to carry the rest of his life? I can't. But that's another matter and another conversation for another time. But that route is trafficked heavily by cyclists. And as a cyclist, whether it's even mountain biking, and I always say to my cyclist friends, at heart, I think I'm originally a mountain biker. I got back on the bike after having been off the bike for a number of years while I was in college, and it was mountain biking that brought me back in, because you could organize camping trips and get out in nature and have some fun with your friends. And then in my own case, and many have echoed this, when life advances and more responsibilities present themselves, people often sort of gravitate over to road biking because you can roll right out the front door, get in 10 to 20 miles in a good workout and clear your head a bit, and you're back home in, an hour or less, or a little more, depending how strong you are. Some of us stronger than others, obviously. But you're out there on your bike, and sometimes you are, at least figuratively, a target, if not literally. And in the interest of balance and embracing all of the conversation surrounding it, admittedly, some cyclists go out of their way to make it difficult or make a point. There's the claim your lane philosophy, which some say is safer because you're in the middle of the road and cars have to go around you. Is that fostering ill will? I don't know. Again, some of these subjects are for conversations that should be had at other times. But the issue is that you're out there on the road and you have virtually no protection. You have a helmet, which truly is designed to provide some sort of protection if you fall and hit your head on the ground, not if you're struck by a car. The helmets are designed to break and shatter and absorb that impact that they would experience meeting with a road. But you sort of accept that risk every single time you're out there. And you know that sometimes cars don't want you there. Sometimes people make it openly known that cyclists shouldn't be on the road. And cyclists, again, this is difficult because these are conversations that perhaps should be held at length at other times, but you are out there sharing the road or attempting to share the road, and it's dangerous, and you sort of accept that risk, and your family tells you it makes me nervous as hell every time you roll out the door, but it's something you love, and it is. It's something I love, and it goes beyond something you love when you do it as much as people who ride regularly, people like Jonah and Natalie, people like Trey Dunaville of the Wheel Community Podcast. When you cycle, it doesn't even have to be that much. It doesn't have to be 100 miles a week. It can be 10 miles a week. You're still out there, and there are vehicles and huge hunks of steel going at speeds greater than anything you could do if you're not assisted by a very strong wind or going downhill. And if they hit you, it's very bad for you and everyone that loves you. And that's really the point. That we just need to be more aware in general of the next person, the next guy, the next girl, the next person on the road, the next person walking down the street, the next person you see in the grocery store. We need to slow down a little bit. We need to be more aware. Easily said, I know, easily thrown out there. But someone like Jonah, who is now no longer here, who touched so many people. She considered herself a seeker. She considered herself a yogi. She was into yoga, meditation. I'm very much into meditation myself. And, you can look for greater meaning in these things if you like, and say that, she burned so white hot with kindness. Some people say the good die young, the kind go early because, I don't know, they've completed their mission or something. Again, let's not even get into that. I just wanted to say a few words in remembrance of Jonah and encouragement and prayers for Natalie, whatever form of prayers work for you, thoughts, meditations, whatever works for you, put them out there for Natalie and her family, and put them out there in memory of Jonah. I don't know, it's kind of rambling, but to Trey's point, again, huge thanks to Trey for jumping out there on his platform and just saying a few words, because it helps. It helps the process of healing. It helps not to make sense, but conversation helps. At least you're not keeping it in. It's not rolling around. So if this podcast can be a platform or any source of help to anyone, please reach out, goodeyepodcast@gmail.com. Links will be on the website. I probably said more than is appropriate and covered subjects that maybe didn't need covering, and I'm sure I didn't say as much as needed to be said. But of course, it's not about me. This is just about the conversation and thinking about two people, one who will be in a great deal of pain for a long time, and one who is no longer with us. And it must be said that Natalie, and this was circulated on social media, I don't know Natalie personally. I do know of her. The cycling community is not that big in the Richmond area. But she's pretty much dedicated her life to helping others. She's worked for a number of nonprofits, and she's always giving back. And it needs to be said that her dad circulated something on social media that said when Natalie was informed of what happened to Jonah, she said, then I must live for Jonah. And live for Jonah is going to be, I'm not sure what you'd call it, but let's just hold that phrase close, live for Jonah, as I'm sure it will grow, and there will be events, and there will be fundraisers, and there will be memorial events. There's a memorial ride coming up. So I'll close with that. Thanks again to Trey Dunnaville and the Wheel Community Podcast. Best wishes, karma, and prayers, all forms of good energy to Natalie and her family, and of course, best forms of energy, karma, and prayers to Jonah in the memory of Jonah and Jonah's family and friends. So with that, I'll draw this to a close. If I can help or provide a forum, be free to reach out. Thanks for your time, attention, and intention on this spontaneous edition of the Good Eye Podcast.